Well, first of all, I want to thank you for your time today. Typically, when I'm doing an interview, I'm doing it as the Christian Reporter News
Yeah.
and coming from that perspective. But I want to be real upfront with everyone today that I have elected to do this um, because Gary Jenkins, who's sitting at the point of my camera here, is a friend of mine and has been since I think since you came to San Angelo. We
You were
met.
one of the first people I met.
Yeah. And I have so many friends out in the community that I want them to know you.
Okay.
And you are running for Tom Green County Judge. And a lot of people don't know you. They don't know that position. And we're living in such a, oh my, I don't know how to nicely say in the time in which we're living, but one that we never ever would have dreamed would have happened. And so for me personally, I think it's critically important that whoever is elected into that position or the sheriff's position, something with that kind of authority, they need to be well versed, well experienced, and be able to step in from day one. We don't have time for a lot of training and life experience and all that to happen. I can tell by the gray in your hair you've had a little life experience. And I just want to carry on a conversation. So
Okay.
I'm just kind of laying out the format a little different than typically I would do. But everyone who is watching this video, I want to introduce you to my friend, Pastor, Apostle, Gary Jenkins, candidate for Tom Green County Judge. One that I truly believe is the most qualified for this position. Now, let's kind of roll back just a little bit. When you were considering even running for this position, from what I understand through our conversations, you actually have spent a good deal of time with Judge Steve Floyd discussing with him the duties, the responsibilities, what's needed. Kind of share some of that of your research you did into this position.
Judge Floyd was very gracious and hospitable to me as I approached him, first of all, to seek his blessing, and secondly, to glean from him as much as I can as a candidate for Tom Green County Judge. As you know, he's retiring, so that's one of the reasons I decided to get into this race. And I really want to honor him because he took the time, and not just with me, I believe he did it with Lane Carter and other candidates, to explain to us what the duties briefly are. And he said to me, 60% of what he does is as an administrative judge. He oversees the Court of Commissioners. He also presides, I think 60% of the job is administrative. And the other 40% is judicial, where he presides over the drug court. I went to one of the proceedings in the drug court. He invited me to come, so I went there to observe how the court is handled and how the sessions run. He made me feel welcome, and he encouraged me to continue to run. And that's why I came on as a write-in candidate after I didn't have enough signatures on my petition. He said, you know, you do have another option. It might be uphill, but you can run as a write-in candidate. So I decided to do that. I was very discouraged at first, and I started to just end the campaign. But after speaking with Judge Floyd, I decided to continue my campaign as a write-in candidate. So that speaks volumes to what kind of individual he is. He's very caring, very concerning, a person of compassion, and I want to be able to carry on that tradition, to honor him and to do the best that I can as the next Tom Green County Judge.
Well, and you come in to not only our community, you've been here almost a decade. You came via a Goodfellow.
8 years.
8 years. Came via a contract out at Goodfellow. and former military yourself. In fact, I understand you were a really good sniper, so much so that you caught the literal eye of a former president who handpicked you to be part of his security team. That brought a lot of experience and a very unique one, because from what I would imagine back in that day, you were probably one of the very first black Secret Service, or whatever the official title is.
I was assigned, I was a Marine.
Okay.
And I was detached from regular Marine Corps duty and assigned to the security team at the White House in Camp David during the Nixon administration. And I worked under the auspices of the Secret Service. So with that in mind, I got to know President Nixon quite well. Most of the agents do not associate with the president directly, but for some reason, I think that I was his pet project, maybe, I don't know, but he liked me, and I got to know him, and I ended up liking him as a friend. And he invited me to Thanksgiving dinner with him and his family. Wow. At Camp David in 1972. And so I sat next to him, and we had a good conversation, and I like to imitate him because he had such a gruffy kind of voice. And he asked me while we were having Thanksgiving dinner, he goes, well, Jenkins, what do you think about being up here at the White House? And I told him, I said, Mr. President, this is the coolest job I've ever had. I was 20 years old. Yeah. And I said, how did I get here? I just don't understand that. Well, Buck Holly, your name came up for my staff, and Henry Kissinger decided that I should get some minorities in key positions on my staff. So that's how I got you here. I handpicked you, and we had a list of names, and I thought that your military record in Vietnam spoke highly of you. So here you are. And I said, well, thank you, Mr. President. I really appreciate it. And and he invited me to his inauguration. Wow. I went there, and it was just really cool. And he says, I don't want you to come as an agent. I want you to come and enjoy yourself. So I
Lovely.
So
Lovely.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
And got to know him quite well and his family. And I cherish that memory.
Yeah. How long did you serve for him?
I was with him 2 years.
2 years. Mm-hmm. So a short bit of his presidency, and before the final days.
That final day I wasn't there.
Yeah. No.
And I was quite shocked over the whole Watergate incident. And of course, when he passed away, that was a sad time for me because I felt like I lost a friend, and that was part of my history. And
he brought you into a new arena, one that wasn't, you kind of broke some ground there.
Well, we did, because when you stop to think about the White House has a lot of history. Yeah. And long before Barack Obama or General Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice and all of the other minorities that came into the cabinet and to serve the President of the United States, I was there. Yeah. And I got to see the changing of the way things were done. And I got to see the operation of federal government at its highest level. I got a chance to see even some international incidents that took place, working with national security. And later, after the 9/11 occurred, when the U.S. Department of Homeland Security was formed, I had long after been reassigned and left the White House. I joined Homeland Security and worked with FEMA and traveled all over the country during natural disasters or doing follow-up and assessments, working on an assessment team that reported to the president.
I think that's critical because Tom Green County tends to be prone to having snowmageddon now, but typically more tornadoes and other events like that where we need FEMA occasionally. And so that experience, I think, it could be well used in that position.
So. I think that, well, as you know, I'm a graduate from the Emergency Management Institute.
Yes.
which is run by Homeland Security.
Yeah.
And they teach you the management operations of FEMA and how to handle natural disasters, whether it's a tornado, flooding, or it could be terrorist activity, it doesn't matter. And all of the agencies under Homeland Security work interactively together. So you could be, in effect, doing something for FEMA or later on the FBI, or you could be doing something with any other federal agency, whatever is needed. So we're interchangeable.
Yeah.
And that's a really good thing, because before 9/11, all of the federal agencies had their own codes, their own communications codes, and that was part of the problem that caused confusion and the delay in the response time to some of the disasters that we had, especially 9/11. So now all of the agencies operate under Homeland Security, and we all operate on the same frequency. We coordinate not only with fire, police, state police, DEA, FBI. We also deal with hospitals, being able to know how to triage people, getting them the medical treatment they need and to help save lives. And you have to do a juggling act with skill and with a calm demeanor. You can't be a person who panics when you see the unexpected occur.
And you can't do on-the-job training.
That's not a time to train.
No.
That's not the time to train. So we had a tornado here recently, a couple of years ago or so. And even though I was no longer with FEMA, we operated on a much smaller scale, my church. We got with other agencies and restaurants and hotels to provide food for families that lost everything they had in their homes that were destroyed by the tornado. We worked with hotels to provide temporary shelter for people who could no longer live in their homes following the tornado. So we did on a smaller level, but used the same technique to provide assistance. And there were other people throughout the county that did that too as well. But we certainly were one of the people in the forefront that did that. As Tom Green County Judge, I would use that experience and other experiences that I've accumulated over the years to bring that kind of service to Tom Green County. Now, we could talk about, I think it was San Angelo Times, the Standard Times rather, asked me a series of questions. How do I see the most important issues over the next 4 years in Tom Green County? Well, one of them is economics. The other one, which ties into it, are taxes. You cannot continue to raise the taxes on homeowners to try to offset the need for dollars in the budget. So the way you do that is you have to create businesses and development. We've got to talk to developers. We got to talk to the San Angelo Economic Development Department. We got to talk to the Chamber of Commerce. We got to talk to private developers. Get them together in a room and let's talk about how we can build up the Tom Green County in the same sense that was done in San Antonio. You got the Riverwalk. Well, the Riverwalk used to be an eyesore. It was economically depressing. And they got together and they built that place up to where now it is a tourist attraction to people all over the world.
Yeah.
Well, we have the Concho River right here in San Angelo, and a resource that we're underutilizing. And we need to bring in hotels and family-friendly venues, entertainment venues that can run most of the year. We don't have to wait for the rodeo to come once a year for two weeks or so, and then charge people an exorbitant amount of money. We can have our own entertainment venues here in Tom Green County and make it affordable, family friendly. I'm not talking about bringing casinos and things like that in, but we can use the ideas that were developed both in San Antonio and in Las Vegas.
Well, they've talked about, because of our history with the fort, where they've been, man, our fort has been really rebuilt, and I know that they have a time or two a year when they have special events there, but more could probably be done. I think somewhere along the line I'd heard that the Germans love to come and visit our fort and our community and everything. But yeah, there's some more things definitely that could be done.
But we need to tie them, Kat. Here's what's missing. We're not
Okay.
connecting the dots.
Okay.
We need to tie Fort Concho and other venues together and make it a tourist avenue, so to speak, so that people are attracted from Ozona, Ballinger, you name it, all the little
Yeah, the
towns
neighboring
around.
communities
and,
as well.
And
Yeah.
people will come to San Angelo or to Tom Green County, just like San Angelo goes to San Antonio or to Dallas.
Yeah.
We need to make this area, since we're isolated, kind of, we need to make this area an attraction to people. And I think we can do that with a little imagination and creativity.
Well, they like our lake too. One of the things I want to bring out is when you made the decision to begin looking at potentially running for that position of being the judge, you began weekly being in the meetings and learning and listening, and you've been doing that for quite a long period of time now.
Yeah.
What are some, have you been able to glean some issues there from what's brought before the commissioners that need to be dealt with?
I certainly can. One of them is the financing of our volunteer fire departments throughout Tom Green County. For example, Water Valley. I went to Water Valley. I visited and spoke to the firefighters there. These are all volunteer people. They're not getting paid for this.
Nope.
And they're putting their lives on the line to protect all of us in that area. One of the things they needed was a Jaws of Life device, which can extricate people out of cars. Well, the device cost $25,000. And at that time, the town had raised $11,000. And they only needed just a little bit more to purchase that device. And I believe that the Tom Green County Commissioner Court should appropriate the proper funding for not only Water Valley, but Cristoval, whether it's Wall or any of the other communities. We need to be able to provide those volunteer firefighters with the life-saving equipment that they need. I am a stickler, being from FEMA, I'm a stickler for safety and for getting the right materials, the tools that we need to help save lives. So I went to the Commissioner's Court and petitioned the court to look into getting the appropriate funding to get that device for Water Valley Volunteer Fire Department.
Awesome. How do you weigh when you see needs that are like that one you just brought up, and then I've got to believe that there's a lot of fat somewhere in our budget that needs some trimming to offset what the upcoming needs are and this, that, and another. How do you balance all of that with needs as well as trying to work within a budget without having to raise the taxes?
Well, I spoke with Diana Speaker. I spent a couple of days with her. She's the treasurer for Tom Green County, and she went down the budget with me.
Oh, good.
She showed me line by line items of how things work with the budget. Now, you have to keep in mind that we're charged with mandated
unfunded mandates from the state.
Mandated expenditures that we have to, mandated unfunded expenditures that we have to provide for. So we have to be careful with that. So yes, we do need to set aside a certain amount of money to offset whatever the mandated unfunded requirements are from the state. Now, with that in mind, I don't have the exact dollar amount of the surplus that we have in Tom Green County, but it's significant, which tells me one of two things was done. We either planned to spend more money than we actually had, or we charged taxpayers more money than we should have. And I am an advocate and will always be an advocate for keeping property taxes low in Tom Green County. Now, that is a state legislature issue.
Right, right.
The Tom Green County Assessor's Office only makes the assessments, but the rule of law comes from the state legislature.
Right.
So I would use my influence as Tom Green County Judge to meet with Senator Charles Perry and State Representative Drew Darby to ask them to work out a deal or introduce a bill that would modify how our taxes are collected throughout the state of Texas, not just Tom Green County.
Right.
And I believe that we need to modify our tax collection system.
And they've been looking at a lot of different options, even doing away with property taxes.
Yeah. Well, we don't have an income tax, which is really good.
Yeah.
But if you do away with property taxes, then there's going to be a void. And I think we have to be,
You've got to figure out where
scale.
that's, yeah.
And I think that would be irresponsible to just get rid of it without having a solution.
Yeah, they've got to have something else in place.
So my solution is this. Let's get rid of, when you buy your home, most of us have a 30-year fixed mortgage. Some may have a 15-year mortgage. But I believe that once you finish paying off your mortgage, you should not have to continue paying property taxes on your house.
Yeah.
So then, if we did do that, how do you offset that? How do we continue to get the funding that we need to operate the county in an effective way? Here's how you do it. You come up with a use tax. You erase the property tax for homeowners who have paid off their homes.
Yeah.
But we still have to pay for our roads and road repair, etc. And so we use the roads. So why not have some kind of a equitable tax for those that are not paying property taxes and have a use tax?
Would it be better to do it on roads, which would be back to the vehicles and things like that, or a consumption or a fair tax, as it's often called?
Either way,
where everyone pays a portion.
Everyone should do that. But however, we have to examine this a little closer. We have to look at both the financial impact and the legal impact of what you do. So there's a need for a study to check out the effectiveness of that idea.
Right.
I'm not saying automatically let's do it, but I am saying let's examine it. Let's put it under the microscope and find out the pros and cons of it.
Yeah.
And once we find that
that's
out,
bigger than Tom Green County. That's state
yeah,
level.
we're talking
right.
statewide issue, which in turn would affect Tom Green County.
Absolutely.
And we would have to get support from everybody. Yeah. Now, there are 27 elected offices in Tom Green County. So no one candidate, whether it's me as Tom Green County Judge, no one candidate should ever make a promise on something they can't keep. I need to work with the commissioners. I need to work with all of the other elected officials in Tom Green County, and then use that as a catapult to gain the support of other elected officials throughout the state to make a change. You have to have a grassroots movement to bring about a change that's going to be beneficial to everybody in Tom Green County and the state of Texas.
All right. Well, I wanted to keep this short, but oh my gosh, we could talk and talk. What have I forgotten? What else do we need to let my friends know about Gary Jenkins?
Well, Gary Jenkins needs your help. So tell your friends. This is what your friends need to do.
Oh, that's right. They've got to write.
You've got to write me in on your ballot. I am the write-in candidate, and a lot of people don't even know that I'm running.
Yeah.
So we need to do this. I need to get the email addresses, either myself or to your friends. I can send you a copy of our campaign card. And let me see if I can reach in my pocket and show you one. We got these campaign cards like this. And I can send you a copy of this, and you can digitize that and then send it to everybody you know. And ask your friends to please take the time and write my name on that ballot so that
you're an official write-in candidate.
I am official.
Your name will even be posted in each little voting booth.
Yes.
So people will know how to spell Gary and Jenkins. Not that it's unusual spelling at all. It's not. But but they need to know that they have purposefully got to do it.
Yes, they have to.
I think it'll have like a blank, it'll list.
There's a list. What happened, I went to the elections office and they showed me exactly what they're doing. They're going to have a piece of paper on the side of the voting machine that has for write-in candidates. And of course, you look down, you'll see Tom Green County and you'll see my name. You have to write my name in. And the voters need to be able to do that on their own. If they don't understand, just ask an elections official. They are not going to tell you to do it, but you have to approach them.
Right.
And then if you ask them, they should be able to help you walk through the process of voting for a write-in candidate, especially for me, for Tom Green County Judge. And we have a video that I produced that shows you how to do that. And so if anyone would like to see that video, all you got to do is call me. And here's my number, and it's area code 325-261-9391. Call that number and request a copy of the video. I can send it to you through a link so that you can see it, especially seniors, because we're not always the most savvy people when it comes to computers. But I can show you, I have a video, it's only 5 minutes long, and it'll show you how to vote for a write-in candidate.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, they need to see that as well. Are you, between now and Election Day, are you going to be in any debates or anything locally where they could come and actually meet you?
We'd like for people to join us at Napoli's Restaurant on Knickerbocker. I don't know the exact address, but you can look it up.
Across from the football stadium.
Yeah. Join us October 19th at 11:30 a.m. That's the Pachyderm Club is having a judges forum between Lane Carter and myself. And so from what I hear, we're going to be out there at Napoli's Restaurant. So come on out and get to meet us, and I'll stop and shake your hand and say hello to you.
All right, great. Anything else on the calendar?
As far as I know, I heard the chamber may have a judges forum sometime between now and Election Day. I don't know. Haven't heard more about that
yet. Okay.
But if they do, we'll certainly let you know. But in the meantime, the only thing I'm aware of is the Pachyderm Club Judge Forum.
Okay.
That's coming up October 19th. 11:30 at Napoli's Restaurant on Knickerbocker.
And they use that back room, and so just go and say, hey, I'm there for Pachyderm, and they'll point you to the back room, and it'll be a good meal and good information.
Good information, and get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gary, I really appreciate your time today and the information you shared. I wish you all the luck in this race. It is a unique one because you are a genuine write-in candidate.
And we're making history.
You definitely are.
I am the first, because I'm a mixture of two races.
Okay.
I'm the first African Native American candidate to ever run for Tom Green County Judge. And that's significant because being a minority, I'm the first candidate to ever run in a county named after a Confederate general. Look at how far we've come, and there's more to go.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate it. God bless you, and have a great campaign.
Thank you so much, Kat, and thank you all for taking the time to watch this video.